Welcome to the 73rd episode of the Supernatural Occurrence Studies Podcast.
All supernatural
episode?
all the time.
Isn't it so damn paranormal? We need a better slogan.
That was never our intro, ever.
Yeah, it was. Back in 37.
My name is Jason Nhyte, host of the show. And with me, as always, is Mr. Oscar Spectir, producer extraordinaire.
Hello, people. Hello.
Why do you sound so aggravated?
I'm staring at the wallpaper.
Episode 37.
And I'm really, if you guys can't tell, I'm extremely happy, proud to announce that Dave Black and Joe Erie are here on the show.
Yeah, we're thrilled. We're thrilled about
Trying to
this.
see if I could
Joe,
extract
I haven't
happiness.
been on the mics with
from
you
this
since
wallpaper.
November-ish, 2017.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Has been a while.
It has been a while.
It's
Are you
great
still
to
sick?
be doing this again.
You've been
On and off.
You've been shunning us.
And Dave, I haven't been on the episode podcast with you for, God, I don't even know when, too, also.
Has it been that long?
I was I can't remember the last episode I was on, but yeah.
It's been a long time.
Oh, yeah. That's why you weren't. I was there last
Work's
That's
a fun,
right.
Work's
That's
a fun
right.
place. I love it.
Work, family,
Sickness.
schedules, sickness.
I think
other
actually
travel.
the last episode I was on
Hookers.
was Lexi when she had that stone and she's like, "There's bad energy in here."
Where was that? I don't even remember that.
It was in your garage. And I held it to clear it. Remember, it was actually changing color.
Oh, that's right.
Ever since then, I've been fucking sick. I mean, I'm getting better slowly, but I don't know.
Yeah, stop.
Allergies.
Enough with the bathroom sex.
Wow.
I don't really know anything about stones. I just know that it's good to be back and it's good to be with all you guys.
Yeah,
I
likewise.
Love you guys.
Love you.
And it's it's nice. I look forward to our trip and being together and all the hijinks that will ensue and everyone getting really frustrated and irritated in their own special way. And
Usually all directed towards you.
well, no, I mean, I think we all, we'll be pissed at Oscar for an hour or two, and then we'll be pissed at Joe for, most of the time.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Wait. How did
Dave,
this?
you're
all
the,
right,
you're
first
the
of all,
number one,
And
Dave.
then we'll
How did this turn
break off
into
and be like, what the fuck's up with
98% of the time, motherfucking Dave. It comes to me. What a dick. You know?
Yes.
Sorry for swearing. What an
But
asshole.
see, the thing, Joe, I've been friends with Joe forever, and we all love Joe, but it's like,
Of course we do.
I mean, you're what, 36?
Yes, yes.
It's like he's like
Don't talk
basically
over each other.
He's basically like a 13-year-old boy that became a 36-year-old overnight, and it's just ridiculous.
He really is.
But isn't that his...
basically-
So
it's
I'm
basically like-
I'm pretty much like one of their significant others.
Yes.
You're saying.
It's essentially like trying to just be an adult, but with Gene from Bob's Burgers as an adult person.
And
Oscar,
Dave,
what do you-
and Dave has an adult brain with a 13-year-old body. Well, actually, no. I take that back. How old are you, Dave?
I am going to be 42 in a few weeks.
Okay, 42. I'd say he looks about 68.
At night
Yeah.
when his glasses are off?
And we're saying
Pretty close.
he kind of reminds us of Ben Stein. Similar, right?
Yeah.
Kind of racist.
Benjamin Steinson.
He's Jewish, right? Personality, very dry. He's smart, but very dry and boring.
Yes.
I wouldn't say
And he
I'm
kind of
boring.
looks like him a little bit. No, I like
mean,
you just
I'm
the way you
definitely
are.
not
If
monotone.
you weren't, I wouldn't love you.
I'm not
I like Dave
monotone.
just the way he
I don't
is.
really understand why I'm.
So we're a
I'm
supernatural
an
podcast?
economist. I don't talk
Yes,
about
we
the
are a
economy
supernatural
very often.
podcast. And
What are we discussing today?
All back as a single unit. And today
I'm
we
pretty
are...
sure most people already shut off the episode.
Yeah.
2 rules, David: no politics and no theories.
Sounds good to me.
All right, cool.
The reason for this particular episode, 73, is to announce our upcoming podcast trip We're leaving like in a few hours. And we are exploring haunted Ohio and the Ohio Islands, namely Put-in Bay.
The Lake Erie Islands, Bass Islands, and
Yeah,
Kelly's
Island. Of course, Put-in Bay is on Bass Island. So I wanted to talk about that, and we kind of give the listeners a clue as to what the upcoming episodes will entail, where we'll be going, some of the things we'll be doing, some of the interviews we have set up, that sort of thing. Just kind of give them an overview of what's coming next. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Yeah,
okay. I'm just making
sure.
I'm
excited. Jay, what are you most excited about?
I'm really stoked about Serpent Mound. I cannot wait to see Serpent Mound. I think I put together a really good episode for Serpent Mound.
When we decided Ohio.
I don't want to be a poo-poo downer or
that
anything.
was the first
because that's not you ever.
But you do realize that when we're at
wait,
Serpent
Mound's in Ohio. I'm like, we gotta go to
Exactly.
But
That's what I'm really...
when we're at Serpent Mound, it's just going to look like a hill from where we're standing, right?
Well, that's kind of the whole...
Is Dave even going to be paying attention? He's going to be looking for snakes anyway.
I know. So. Or on his phone.
And he's like, this is the best. This is the best.
Well, that's kind of the whole allure to Serpent Mound, is that you look at it from our view, looks just like, a rolling mound kind of in the middle of nowhere.
Maybe we will feel something there.
It isn't until you take an aerial view that the full picture comes in to focus, and listeners will have to wait to hear what that's all about. But it's the world's largest geoglyph mound, located right here in the Midwest. Lots of questionable history. It ties in ancient aliens theory, all sorts of crop circles, energies, all sorts of really cool stuff. So I'm really looking forward to Serpent Mound.
Oh yeah,
Joe, what are you looking forward to?
That's going to be our finale of the trip.
That will be. Yeah, that'll be our last stop on the trip. What are you most looking forward to?
Probably, Serpent Mound by far. But when Dave found the islands, I'm like, all right, I automatically Serpent Mound. I can't wait. Yeah. But I'm like, if I can go anywhere else, research the Writer's Inn. I just, for some reason, for me, I have a feel that place is going to be great. Almost like the Colonial Inn we did in Massachusetts.
Oh, right.
I'm like,
listeners, go back and listen to the Colonial Inn episode. Yeah.
I'm like, I have a feeling it's going to be a great place just for us to hang out, to feel. It's going to be a good experience for us, and we're going to get stuff.
Yeah, Writer's Inn.
Good interviews.
Painville, Ohio. Yeah, yes. We have an interview set up with the innkeeper, the owner of the Writer's Inn. A lot of history there.
Yeah, booked 3 rooms.
3 rooms are booked, including supposedly the most haunted room.
Yes.
Room 11, I believe.
I believe, too.
A lot of sightings there, a lot of anomalies there. And we get to interview the innkeep, so that's going to be pretty awesome. And we have free reign of the hotel. We could walk around anywhere we want.
Just get into anyone's room like, hey, let us in.
We got free reign.
Hey, can you move over for a second today?
Yeah, so
let me kiss your wife. Get out of the way.
What? I agree. That's going to be really cool as well. Definitely. Dave, how about you? What are you looking forward to?
I'm really looking forward to being back on Kelly's Island. I was 2 times I've been on Kelly's Island. When I was, I want to say, maybe in my early 30s, I went to. I've always been into reptiles. Of course, everyone knows that. Specifically, at one point in my life, when I was around 19 years old, I had one of the Midwest's largest collections of live salamanders that I did programs with and stuff. I eventually narrowed my focus in reptiles and amphibians into salamanders. I went to the Smoky Mountains for several days, for 9 days in 1995, specifically to collect salamanders. So Kelly's Island has its own specific triploid hybrid species of salamander. There's 3 different species that have interbred over the years and created their own all-female species that has to cross back to one of the males of the original species, but only passes on their genes, making clones of themselves. It's really interesting stuff. But
Are they ghost salamanders?
they're not ghost salamanders.
Oh, okay.
But I wanted to go to Kelly's
Trying to
Island
bring it back.
to see those salamanders. Also, they have their own species of water snake called the Lake
Oh,
Erie
we're
water snake,
still
which
going
is
on.
endangered. So I originally came to Kelly's Island in search of reptiles. And then I went back a second time years later, and it was only then that I realized, I'm like, wow, this island's got some crazy energy to it. It seems like it has this feel of like a sleepy northeastern town, off the coast of Maine or something like that, where you kind of have like the rocky shores and like the kind of the misty lake and the lighthouses and seagulls crying, and like it's just got this really unique feel of like almost like a Stephen King movie setting or novel setting. And I thought it would be a great place. I know we were looking for a place, so we're all a little bit tighter on funds this year, and we wanted to stay a little closer to home. And this seemed like a really good opportunity to check out the islands. I've only been to Kelly's Island. There's several other islands in Lake Erie here, and I wanted to get us out there and check them out.
Yeah, so you really spearheaded the planning of this
Yeah, and
paranormal excursion.
And I know you've been really busy and you've had some family issues you were dealing with, so I kind of just took the reins on it and started making calls and finding people, and I got some pretty great interviews set up. I contacted the author of a book, Haunted Put in Bay. We have lined up the historian of Kelly's Island. I also talked to the first person I talked to. I called the Chamber of Commerce of Kelly's Island. Wound up talking to a young lady named Jordan, who was gung ho all about it for right off the bat, and she volunteered to like help us get a bunch of stories together and stuff. She put out some messages on some Facebook groups for Kelly's Island people and got all these people writing in with all these crazy stories about stuff. I think Kelly's Island is probably going to be the most interesting. Also, I should say that Kelly's Island has never had official paranormal investigations done on it.
Woohoo!
As
Number
far
one
as I
first.
know, by any group, I don't think there's ever been like any sort of official capacity. There's never been like a ghost hunters show or book or anything like that written about it. So this might be an opportunity for us to kind of put the place on the map as a haunted place, and coax out some haunted stories, and possibly collaborate on doing some books or something
Nice.
to that effect about Kelly's Island.
I'm down for sure.
Yeah.
So we have some isolated, sort of Stephen King-esque islands that we're going to visit, on which we have some high-profile interviews set up with some prominent figures in the islands. That sounds really great, actually. I was a little reluctant at first with the islands.
I think once we're out there, you're going to see what I'm talking about, and you're going to be like, wow, this is really cool. This is...
Yeah, I can't wait to stay in those the hotels too.
The haunted inns, yeah. Now, Oscar, how about you?
Park Hotel.
You're looking forward to the Park Hotel. That was fast.
Yes.
That was very fast.
Yep.
What is it about the Park Hotel, which is where a haunted bed and breakfast that we're staying at on Putin Bay?
Mm-hmm.
It's actually a hotel. It's just a 26-room hotel.
Hotel.
Isn't that supposedly the most haunted hotel on that island?
That's what they say. Mm-hmm. So what about the Park Hotel, Oscar? Are you
For
looking?
two reasons. One, you guys haven't mentioned it yet.
Uh-oh.
And two, just on the pictures, it looks like the most fun to walk around in. But I don't know enough, obviously, yet.
Cool.
But yeah, I don't feel anything. I don't have a pre feeling of going there. So I know nothing of these islands. I'm just gonna. This might be my. I don't know. I think it's my first. I think I went to an island when I was a kid, but I don't remember it. But just being in an island, any island.
Oh, any island. I see.
Yeah. So,
I see.
Might be fun.
And you're bringing your girlfriend along for the trip.
Yeah, Miss Raven.
Lexi Raven.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What do you feel? How are you feeling about that?
It's gonna be equal parts great.
And equal parts terrible.
And, equal parts, just, dealing with you guys, will that reflect badly on me? Will she be less of a woman after this trip? I don't know.
I don't understand less of a woman.
Yeah, because she'll feel like she has to grow a penis to, talk to you guys.
No.
I don't
Wait,
think
so
we're-
you're saying that she doesn't have a penis?
No.
We've been very welcoming.
Oh my!
Didn't she? Isn't she post-op?
She
So
is
first of
post-op.
all, I didn't know there was islands.
It might regrow.
Until
Okay,
Dave
so you,
brought that up.
you didn't know there were Ohio Islands.
I had no clue.
Wow.
Yeah.
My mom's been telling me for a long time that I should get out to the Ohio Islands, especially since Ohio is a major part of my territory for my big boy job. My mom's like, when you go out there, you
Never
should
knew
take
it.
time.
Also,
Go to the Ohio Islands, go to see Sandusky and Cedar Point, which is a huge amusement park here there on Lake
to,
Erie.
Playboy magazine, the Bass Islands are the easiest place to get laid in the United States.
Uh-oh.
Several years running.
But those for guys, right?
I'm guessing, but I don't know.
Those for guys.
I mean, I guess it's for anyone, really.
Huh. I mean, I don't know how I feel about that. 20 years ago, I would have been all over that, but now I'm like, just more headaches.
Yeah, I
Just
imagine
more
it's a lot
headaches.
of, more mature ladies.
Oh.
But anyway, I look forward
We
to
all
being
just
on the
stopped and
island.
thought
we
about that
just
for a second. Like, wait a minute.
We did.
Well, of course, guys, that's kind of the hook with the Supernatural Occurrence Studies podcast, is that we actually dare to take people out of the studio, out of controlled environments, and into actual haunted, hexed, jinxed,
We like to throw
overall
you into
strange
chaos.
areas, so the listeners could experience the paranormal without leaving the comfort of their chairs. So here we are, 2018, doing it once again, taking them on the road. Because it's been, frankly, quite a while. This is the first time we're leaving the studio in 2018.
I did always want to visit Lake Erie. I've never been to Lake Erie.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
you're
good,
Joe Erie.
good.
Wow, what a coincidence!
You
It's-
grew up on the street named Erie.
I know, so it's
You did.
Triple E.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I've always
You
wanted
don't
to
have
go
to
Lake
say
Erie.
yes,
Well, I mean, actually, you know what? I've driven past a few times, but I never actually was on the lake or close to it.
Yeah. Wow. What else do we have planned there, Dave?
Well, we have there's a couple of haunted wineries we're going to be visiting. On Put In Bay, we got the Park Hotel. We're going to be meeting with the author of Haunted Put In Bay, who's also a historian, and he's a park ranger at the Perry's Victory Memorial there, which is pretty cool. We have also on Put In Bay, there's a couple other stories floating around that we're going to check out. There's a haunted bar called T&J Smokehouse that the upstairs is used to be, I guess, like a boarding house of sorts.
Isn't there like a cool old ship there too?
There's going to be the Niagara, which is like a tall ship. It was actually sunk nearby, and they raised it up and basically put it all back together, restored it, and now it's sailing again. So that's pretty cool. I've never been on Put In Bay before, so that'll be pretty cool to see. I have a feeling it's going to be a lot more commercialized than Kelly's Island. Kelly's Island's a little bit more sleepy and slow than Put In Bay is more like a Wisconsin Dells sort of destination crazy spot.
All the stuff they said they had the Christmas in July,
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
yeah, big parties and
So
stuff.
it's a pretty big tourist
Both of
destination.
these places, though.
Well, if it's the number one place to get laid, I assume it's going to be touristy as hell.
both
Good
of these
point.
both of these places are real big tourist spots, and they only have a limited amount of rooms on them. I know Kelly's Island doesn't even have a hotel on it. It's all like bed and breakfasts and small places. That
Oh,
I don't
really?
think there's anything on that island that has over 20 rooms in it.
Yeah, because we
So-
almost didn't get it.
Yeah,
We're able to
it
get
was
on
only
Kelly's,
because
right?
of Jordan at the Chamber of Commerce that we got a room on Kelly's Island. The last time I talked to her, she said, call them now. They had a cancellation that they had set up for 3 months, and the people just canceled on them. So I called them up, and, I mean, we're all going to be staying in one room. There's going to be 5
At
of
a
us in
bed
one
and
room.
breakfast with
Okay, I
romance.
changed my mind. That's my favorite part.
But I think it'll work out. It's got 2 double beds, and they're going to bring in a cot and then an air mattress, and
Oh,
that should
my God.
accommodate all of us.
What's the bathroom situation like?
It's like down the hall. I think all the
Wait,
places
wait,
that we're staying at.
Wait, wait,
There's no like.
Wait,
you have to
what?
It's down
understand that these are these are houses that were these were homes that were converted in, and the Park Hotel was built in 18. It's funny that this is the 73rd episode because a lot of the places that we're going to be visiting were built in 1873. So 73 is going to be kind of a fun, reoccurring number.
So they have no electricity. Do they have plumbing? Is that
wait, no electricity?
Outhouses?
No. It's what they have plumbing, but the Park Hotel has like communal bathrooms on each floor, like kind of like a.
You just gave Jay a nightmare.
Think of it as a dorm type of thing.
Okay, all right. I had a dorm at Northern Illinois University. Shared bathroom, community bathroom. I would drive home if I had to number two. If I had to boom, I would drive home to do it and then stay overnight and then get up early in the morning the next day and fly all the way to NIU to go to class.
That seems very inconvenient.
Then why did you have a dorm?
And we have to take a ferry to these islands.
I don't know.
Okay. Seems like you could have saved some money.
So no, but
actually, one of the things I'm really looking forward to.
So you got to leave the hotel, take a ferry back,
right? Because there's no roads to get to these islands. We have to take ferries.
I look forward to taking the ferries. That's a really cool experience to drive your car onto a boat.
That sounds really.
I've definitely never done that before.
Get out of your car on a boat and kind of check out the water and look at the clouds.
Now, if we had to put the boat after the water into a plane, that would be Jay's worst nightmare.
Yeah.
Kill me right then.
All three modes of transportation in
it's
account.
Super cool. Like it happens super fast. You're like waiting in line, and then all of a sudden you're on a boat, and then the boat just picks up and leaves, and you're like, you don't even have any time to think about it. It's pretty crazy.
Like how long does it take to get there?
I think it's about, depending on which island you're going to, it's about 15 minutes to 25 minutes, depending
on the water ferry.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we got to take a ferry to one island, and then from the island we got to take a ferry to the other island?
Well, there's ferries that go from island to island, but not all of them bring cars. If you want to bring your car, there's only one ferry for each island where the car goes to the island and back. And then you have to drive to the other ferry to get to the other island.
I'm stressed out already. What?
Yeah.
So are we going to leave our car on one and then just take a boat to the other?
No, we're going to, because we want to bring the car with us. We want to be entirely mobile. They have bikes and they have golf carts and stuff like that. But
wait, go-karts?
If it's like golf carts.
Oh.
So if it's raining or anything like that, it's just going to be a pain.
Well, then why don't we just leave our car
and all that stuff? So it's
on land.
Honestly, believe me,
golf cart to one island.
It's better to just have, and I think the golf carts have to be back by a certain time too. Plus, they're $60 or $70 or $80 a day to rent.
Well, how much is it to get the car over there?
The ferry is $30 or $40 for the car, plus $20 a person, $15-20 a person. So it's between $100 and $130 each time you go back and forth. But it's round trip, so you're basically paying, both ways. But yeah, I can't imagine going on a trip there and being on some sort of limited budget.
So what happens if you lose your wallet or something? Are we stuck here?
I guess you just you swim or something. I don't know.
I'm still tripping on the bathroom situation. I don't know what I'm going to do.
Yeah, it's going to be. It'll be interesting for sure, but I think it's all going to work out in the end, and we're going to have a fun time, and it's going to be. I think this is just going to.
I think we're going to drive each other crazy in the car.
There's going to be a lot of character on this trip. We'll say that.
That's cool.
I think it's pronounced character.
Well, we do have to hit the road here in a couple hours. Probably get a little bit of sleep. Probably get some Tascam recordings from the car ride.
Yes, always expect that kind of stuff.
Ohio. Yeah. So listeners, fair warning, a lot of these Ohio releases are going to be Tascam episodes. Forgive us for any audio issues, but it's kind of what happens when you take the show on the road.
Yeah, and there's a storm coming.
And there is a storm coming.
We'll call them foibles.
And right, audio foibles. I think, though, Dave, if I understand it correctly, we do have an interview set up with the author of Haunted Put-in Bay when we land on Put-in Bay, correct?
Correct, yes.
So I think what I would like to do, guys, Oscar, is insert that author's interview at the end of this intro episode to kind of give the listeners a clue, a history, the folklore of Put-in-Bay before we actually go out and start researching these different areas, these different locations. Does that sound good?
I'll put it in your bay.
It sounds okay.
Does it sound like a plan?
Yeah.
Could we do that?
Yes, we can.
Oscar, is this where we should insert our advertisements?
It sounds good.
Is that your cue for ads? Because I think that maybe after we give them a bit more on the car and possibly Ferry Tascam stuff.
Can we advertise,
Ferry Tascam
fake
stuff.
products,
That'd be fun.
Don't
I
really
think-
exist?
Because knowing us, we record at the drop of a dime. Like if we see a weird looking ice cube, we'll start opening the Tascam and
So we're
talking about
gonna
it.
record everything.
Yeah, we're just record hogs.
We're gonna be like Japanese tourists.
right, record hogs.
Is that wrong to say? You could say that. No,
Do Japanese tourists record a lot of things?
I don't know.
I don't know. First, I know.
Let's run down the list of contact information. Email us at contact@chicagoghostpodcast.com. Look us up on Facebook at Chicago Ghost Podcast.
Or don't, because you may want to, keep the mystery about how we look.
Yes.
We're terrible looking people.
Find us.
Joe's definitely the most attractive.
We're
of all of us.
ogres.
Find us.
Thank you, Dave.
But that's
On-
by default. The rest of us are hurt.
I remember why we didn't have him back on for a while.
Yeah.
Find us on Twitter and Instagram at Chicago Ghosts. Donate to the cause and send us on more podcast trips by visiting patreon.com/supernatural occurrence studies podcast.
Yeah, send us about $1,500 for this trip, if you would, please.
Check
should
out
do a
all of our
GoFundMe.
YouTube content. Supernatural Occurrence Studies on YouTube. We do plan to do some live streaming from the various locations we visit on this trip. And call or text anytime 872-529-0767.
And that's an Ohio area code.
That is a Chicago area
Oh,
code.
I mean, Ohio.
872-529-0767. Leave us a message and we will play it at the top of our podcast.
I don't like that area code. It's
Jay,
not a good
that's a
area
Gold
code.
Coast area code.
It is a Gold Coast area.
I mean,
You're
I
right.
would think that assuming at least Oscar that edits would listen to these and
Yes.
hear it every time.
I don't.
It
First
is-
of all, I do
it is
not,
a Gold
I
Coast
do not
episode.
like that
A
area
Gold
code.
Gold Coast number.
That area code is not. It's not a pretty looking area code. And on top of that, Joe's got a fucking ponytail in right now. And
It's not a
bothering.
ponytail, it's a man bun, dude.
It's
Well,
really bothering.
guys, let's get a few hours of sleep and get in the car and start heading on this trip.
Sounds-
What do you say?
And it's a small
Hey,
sedan. And
I-
5 of us are driving in it. It's
One
gonna-
rule, shotgun.
Done.
I'll puke all over the goddamn car.
Fucking Dave.
I want to see him puke.
It starts already.
It does. It starts already.
Okay.
All right, Jay, take us to Ohio.
This episode of the Supernatural Occurrence Studies podcast is brought to you by GoDaddy.com. GoDaddy.com is offering our listeners a huge 30% discount on any new GoDaddy service. Go ahead and buy that domain you've always wanted. Build your dream website, sell your product, and communicate with your fans. Anything you need to get your business and ideas online and productive. To take advantage of the 30% discount, you must visit www.trygodaddy.com/SOS-radio. What are you waiting for? That's trygodaddy.com/SOS-radio. Start building your online presence today.
Hey there, Dave Black here, Supernatural Occurrence Studies podcast. On the road, we're about an hour or so away from our location. We just passed over into the border, just over the border of Ohio. We're in Ohio.
Cool. When what body of water
Toledo.
are we going to be next to, David?
Well, we're going to be in Lake Erie because there's islands in Lake Erie that we'll be on. So we'll be in Lake Erie, literally, surrounded by it.
So every turn of the curve on the island will be touching Lake Erie, right?
Well, it's an island. So every part of the island that is the edge of the island is, yes, touching.
Oh, so it is touching. Okay.
Touching the lake, yes. Because it's in the lake. I don't know if you know this, like, if you take, like, for instance, you take, like, a baseball, right, and you throw it in the water, it will then be surrounded by water, because it's in the water.
Okay, so is there going to be serpents, sea serpents?
There is the Lake Erie water snake, which only exists on those islands and nowhere else
Are we there yet?
in the world. They are they have their own endangered species of snake there.
This really isn't going on the podcast, is it?
Okay, so basically the idea is that we're going to these islands, these very unique communities in the United States that you don't often see, and we're going to be they're like
Literally
these,
fishing it.
They're
called
but
the
not for
Ohio
fish, for
Islands.
ghosts.
They're these tight knit little communities. They're kind of like summer home communities where only about 10% of the population that's there in the summer stick around the rest of the year. So, like for Kelly's Island, which is going to be the second part of our trip, is I think it's got 1,100 people on it, like during the summertime, and then in the winter it's like 130 people that live there.
And it was rated what? Number one?
No, that's the Bass Islands. Bass Islands were rated number one place to get laid in the United States by Playboy magazine several years running.
And look, there's that license plate that says DTF. As soon as you said that.
Yeah, I guess so. It does say that. What is the slogan of Ohio? Or those are Michigan. That's a Michigan plate.
That's me. I don't know what Ohio's slogan is.
I think it's like
Ohio.
it's Ohio. It's a place. I think with the ampersands in there, like little ... like it's ... a ... place, I guess.
Well, Michigan is pure Michigan, right?
It is pure Michigan. It's like pure uncut Michigan. So we are, we wanted to do a trip this year that was a little bit closer, not as involved, not as much travel time. So we're only going to be about 6 hours away from home. We get to ride on a ferry out to the islands, and
I hope he can carry us all.
it's going to be pretty fun. We're gonna.
Who's with you today?
Yeah, who is with us? What are you guys doing back there? We got Jay Nhyte.
Hi.
We got Joe Erie.
Hello.
We got Lexi Raven.
Hi.
And we got Oscar Spectir.
Hey.
Yeah, those are the people that are with us. There's 5 of us on this trip.
Full crew.
This is the most people we've had on a trip so far. So it's going to be fun. We're gonna.
And what are we eating, Trey?
Oh, the licorice.
Joe, what's the
Talk
story
about
with
the
your
licorice.
stupid licorice story?
It's an anti-inflammatory and also helps with demons.
In that order?
Can you explain why you got candy that nobody has eaten since 1973?
So a few days ago,
It helps
it's anti-inflammatory.
Cracker
Think it's
Barrel
for demon.
bullshit is what it is.
Now, a few days ago, I had a dream. It was Jason Nhyte, myself, my son, Jason's kids, his mother, and I believe it was his grandmother, his mom's mom. And my mom was there, too. We're all sitting around a table, and Jay's mom and grandma were eating this candy dish. It was like a big cylinder, bowl, whatever. They bring she looks over to my grandma.
So just to explain, a dish with candy in it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And it was like old-fashioned candies. They look at my grandma and they asked if she would want some licorice or some candy. And my grandma's like, yeah, I love black licorice. And grabbed one and ate it. And I'm like, all right. I woke up and I'm like, that was a weird dream. But I think basically what I got out of it is everyone sitting at the table, those were kind of the lightened people that feel and the certain, energy that we feel.
So that includes you.
So you,
Your grandma, my mom, my grandma,
Talia,
JoJo,
Nico,
my kids.
Yes, yes,
It's really weird.
yes. So we have that more water, high, happy energy, opposite of Dave. But
Notice I wasn't sitting at that table.
yeah, you know what? Dave was not there. That's weird. Yeah. But basically, like that dream told me that we were all on that same wavelength, and it was showing me how it skipped, went to generation. We do have to call Jay's mom and ask if there is anything to do with licorice with her mother, and also the description what I gave,
Right.
because but to see actually if it was her.
So then you had this dream, and the dream was licorice, and you actually went out and got licorice for the trip.
Yeah.
And you and I have been eating it.
Oh yeah.
It's gross.
I love it.
It's gross.
And you too. No, that's pretty cool.
So Dave, did it leave a bad taste in your mouth?
Yeah, it was gross. So I immediately ate something else. All right, so we will be at our destination in just a bit. We're going to take the ferry over to Bass Island. Put-in Bay is our first stop. We're staying at the Park Hotel, which is a hotel that was built in the very early part of the 1800s. And yeah, we're going to be staying there. It's purported to be haunted. I found it on the Google Maps, and it's the place that we're going to be staying at. We're supposedly staying in some haunted rooms. There's also a haunted lighthouse on the island that we want to stay at, and yeah.
What about these salamanders, Dave?
Salamanders are on Kelly's Island. Kelly's Island has their own species of triploid hybrid salamander.
Are you texting and recording on the podcast right now?
No, I'm trying to look up the date when the Park Hotel was built. I knew what it was, but it's a pretty old hotel. It's older than I think it's pretty much older than anything in Chicago. The Historic Park Hotel. It was
Dead air.
Yeah, it doesn't really say when it was built or anything. So I don't know. we're gonna have
information's just not available.
We're gonna have to figure it out. We're gonna talk to the manager and get some information about it. There is some.
We need to redo this.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, we're gonna be staying at the Park Hotel. It was built in the early part of the 1800s. Supposedly it's over 150 years old, and it's pretty much the same as it was when it was first built. In fact, I don't even think there's bathrooms in the rooms. You have to go down the hallway to the bathroom.
You didn't tell me that one.
Yeah,
you didn't tell me that one.
Well, we're gonna find it out. See what's up.
Oh God.
Also, it's the only place that was available for us too. So, which is why we're only staying on Put-in Bay for tonight and in the day tomorrow, because there's no rooms available for Friday and Saturday there. And then on to Kelly's Island. But yeah, it's going to be great. We're going to have a fun time, and we're going to experience some new things.
I hate you so much right now.
Okay, cool. We'll talk to you later. About 20 minutes away from our destination. We are here in Ohio. We just passed a nuclear power plant, which was kind of cool to see. And we're chugging along here. We'll be right by Lake Erie in a few minutes. We'll be hopping on the ferry and heading over to Put-in Bay. I've never personally been on Put-in Bay. I've been on Kelly's Island, but never Put-in Bay. So I'm looking forward to seeing what that's all about. So Jay, you were a tad bit reluctant about doing this particular trip, correct?
Yeah. In the beginning, yeah, I was. Up till this morning, yeah, I was.
Because we were mulling over different places to go and different ideas and stuff, and I threw the islands in as a suggestion, just because it's a closer spot and it's kind of a unique area that most people will never see, and figured it was worth a shot.
Yeah, I was a little reluctant. Usually we branch out pretty far when we take our podcast trips. This time we decided to stick in the Midwest. I'm like, how cool is the Midwest? But you did find some pretty interesting things for us to do on the Ohio Islands. So kind of you took the reins and ran with this one. So if anything goes wrong, I'm going to blame it all on you.
Yeah. Well, we got some good contacts. Like I said, like the Put-in Bay, I feel is going to be. I don't think it's going to be bad, but I think it's going to be. There's going to be a lot of noise. We'll say that. There's going to be, because it's summertime and it's like this tourist destination, and I just feel like it's going to be like really crowded, and there's going to be a lot of like activity going on, and it's going to be kind of hard to narrow in on anything or get anyone to talk to us really. But I feel like Kelly's Island's a little more low key, and not as many touristy people hanging around. Whereas, like for instance, Kelly's Island has like 1,200 people on it during the summertime, whereas Put-in Bay has probably 5,000 people on it.
Wow.
So that's kind of the difference that we're dealing with.
Are they roughly the same size?
Just about, yeah, I think so. They probably have about the same volume as far as square miles and stuff go. But I'm looking forward to being on Put-in Bay just because I've never been there before. We're staying at the Park Hotel, which was actually built in the 1870s, which is where we're staying at tonight. So we're staying in a haunted hotel. We have 3 separate rooms that we're all going to be staying in, and we're going to see what goes down.
Do you want to explain about our first experience we had on this trip?
What was our first experience?
A demon statue with glowing red eyes!
Yeah, Jason.
And the noose.
Yeah, well, the noose was behind it.
Joe
kept
Let's not
getting
even
worse
count
and worse as the story
By the
went
time
on.
this trip ends, it'll be like 6 feet tall.
Joe saw
It'll be,
like a
swirling.
little stone gargoyle on somebody's front lawn and flipped out about it like it was the most exciting
It
thing
was
ever.
painted black and it had red
Joe has
eyes.
not aged since 7th grade.
No, only peanut size.
And we got logistically, this trip is a lot different than any of the other ones we've been on. Simply getting back and forth between the islands and the mainland, and
Yeah, we gotta
it's
take ferries
it's not
and stuff.
easy. And ferries have certain times when they start and stop, and
It's gonna be fun.
it's quite
different.
expensive to get the car island to island to island, and so there was a lot of different reasons why I was a little hesitant on this one, but I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait to be on the water.
Yeah, I feel like it's gonna be definitely interesting. Like I said, from what I know about Kelly's Island, it's got this kind of like northeastern Cape Cod sort of feel to it. It's got this sort of Stephen King-esque sort of misty lighthouse, rocky shore type of thing going on with eagles flying around and stuff. It's pretty cool. And
There's a lot to do in such a little amount of time, you know. But
Yeah.
it's cool that we actually get to go out and feel stuff and actually find things for ourselves. You know?
Like tonight, because we want to go look at the lighthouse, the haunted lighthouse, where a guy apparently jumped off the cliff and killed himself or something, and the guy that owned the lighthouse was considered to be the murderer. There's this crazy story.
Or the
about-
antagonist, at least.
Yeah.
Or kind of antagonized the guy
Well,
who
it was
jumped off.
the guy the lighthouse owner had an assistant that lived there that kind of operated the lighthouse, and they were really good friends. And one day, the assistant killed himself, and they thought that the lighthouse owner did it, and then that drove him insane.
Oh.
It's a pretty crazy story. Hopefully, we can find somebody to actually narrate it for us that knows about it, that can tell us all about it. I'm sure there's like a bar or something.
Yeah,
nearby.
that one I didn't research, the lighthouse, but you guys put a lot of work into coordinating some really good interviewees, researching a lot of the locations. Like I said, you guys took the reins on this one, and we're talking to, historians, chamber members?
Yeah.
What else?
That's what we got set up so far, and then of course the hotel, the Riders Inn. So tonight we're going to be talking to Philip. He's the manager of the Park Hotel, which was built in the 1870s. It's been pretty much unchanged since they opened, and it's going to be, there's definitely some stories about haunting there. It's a 26-room hotel, so it's a fairly small hotel.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it.
And then we have the lighthouse that we want to check out tonight. And then tomorrow during the day, we'll to check out some other places on Bass Island that are purported to be haunted, and get some interviews, talk to some folks. Then we leave the island tomorrow afternoon, like 5 or 6 o'clock, head over to Kelly's Island, where we'll be staying on Friday night and Saturday night, and see what we can pull up there. We're going to be interviewing the historian of Kelly's Island on Saturday morning, along with the member of the Chamber of Commerce that was kind of our liaison for the island. So there's a lot of cool stuff that we got lined up, and we're going to make it happen. See what happens. Put it all together.
Then at the end of the trip, there's a hotel in Painesville, Ohio, the Riders Inn, that Joe Erie got for us. He booked 3 rooms, one of them being supposedly the most haunted room, room 11, and Serpent Mound is something we're going to check out as well.
Yeah. Serpent Mound is a bit of a haul away from where we'll be. It's another 4.5 hour, 5 hour trip.
Yeah, I think it'll be worth it.
But Serpent Mound was, of course,
it's the world's oldest mound geoglyph, serpent geoglyph mound.
And that was created by whom?
Well, you're going to have to wait for the story on that one. 11 pages of notes on that one. 11-page script. They don't know if it's the Fort Ancient culture or if it's the Edema culture, but it's definitely prehistoric, right here in the Midwest.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's on the natural preservation list alongside the Great Pyramids, the Sphinx, and things like that. And then there's Serpent Mound on that same list, right here in Ohio.
Fantastic. All right, cool. Well, we will be on the ferry soon, and we'll report back from there. I'd really like to see if we can talk to the ferry captain and see if they've ever seen any crazy things out on the lake.
That would be
because there's a lot of like shipwrecks.
Oh, yeah.
And probably some UFO type stuff going on. And it would be really interesting to talk to them and see if they have anything to say. So we're going to see if we can try and get into the cabin and talk to the ferry captain.
That would be awesome.
Speaking of UFOs, soybean field right next to Serpent Mound.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, there was some crop circles reported
Yep, that's right.
a few years ago.
That's going to be a crazy episode.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm looking forward to it, guys. It's going to be fun.
Me too. Nhyte, Lexi Raven.
Hello.
We are on the boat. Oscar Spectir. Hello.
What? What do you want?
Say hi.
Yeah. Wow. Hi. I know you. I've been with you for hours.
Well, notice how Dave Black didn't pick up this portion of the episode because the boat left Dave and Joe back on the mainland. We got onto the boat with our car.
That's what they fucking get.
Dave and Joe. Dave had to go to the bathroom.
Joe went to get them, and they're both fucking gone.
They got stuck. They're not on this boat. They are not on this boat.
Watch, they're gonna swim their way here. That's all.
And their phones are in the car on the boat. I don't know how we're going to meet up with them, where to meet up with them.
I don't think we know
how
where we're
long
going.
it's going to take to meet up with them.
Mm-hmm.
But so our first misstep of the trip. But here we are, headed out on the Put-in-Bay Ferry on Lake Erie, heading out to Put-in-Bay, and it's a big ass boat. It's a big ass ferry. Our cars are here, probably about 20 cars.
It's probably small compared to other ferries. We just don't know. There's our first ferry.
No comparison, yeah.
Right, yeah.
Probably about 20 cars on here. Doing a good clip. The water's beautiful. Would you guys say the water's nice?
Yes, it is.
I mean, it's just water. It looks pretty dirty.
You know
to
what?
me.
It's haunted water.
This is
really water.
an audio medium. I'm trying to explain.
Yeah, but it's not beautiful.
I think it's beautiful. Look, it's a
No.
nice green.
It is
Green.
We have waves.
You're describing every body of water.
It's a very-
so far. It's just
All
like
right,
every other body.
let me
of
put it
water.
this way. How about this? How about
What makes
this?
it special?
How about this?
Yes.
So we're setting off. This is our second leg of a haunted trip.
Our second what?
Second leg.
Leg.
First leg was getting here.
Oh, okay.
Now second leg, we are literally taking a boat to our haunted destination. So
Okay.
let me set the scene. The sky is completely overcast. Looks like there's a storm off in the distance.
It's a little foggy.
It's kind of foggy.
Yeah.
The water's a dark green.
Yeah, it's like.
You could say it's eerie.
It is eerie. You're right. So, there's the lighthouse. So for me, it's really starting to finally set the mood that because we're going to like this
But all those
isolated
things-
location, kind of, you know.
all those things I still don't think makes the water beautiful.
You and this damn beautiful water thing.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that wave. That was cool.
Yeah.
So, listeners, also check out our Supernatural Occurrence Studies YouTube channel. Very nice. Lexi just caught a cool picture.
Now that's on YouTube.
Check out our YouTube channel because I'm going to be taking video throughout the trip, so you can kind of get a visual for what we're seeing right now. But don't know what's going to happen with Dave and Joe.
I simply get on that one.
The reservations under their name. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. So what are we gonna do?
I have no idea. We are going to see when we get there.
Great.
So this Put-in-Bay part of Bass Island does not look very big at all.
No. Well, that's awesome though. I mean, I kind of want to walk it.
Yeah,
the whole thing.
right?
Don't you want to walk it or
I
ride
do.
a bike on it?
I
or
would
something?
bike. They said the ideal transportation is golf carts.
Golf cart. Yes, you told me that.
Not our vehicles, of course. I'm taking
So,
my vehicle,
we'll
my
have to
rental
park it.
vehicle.
We have to park it somewhere then.
Got to find a place to park. Oh, lots of seagulls.
And they're catching, fish. They're catching Nemos.
It doesn't feel like we're in the Midwest.
No, it
Doesn't
does not.
feel like we're in the Midwest.
Because we grew up never imagining. I mean, we have the Lake Michigan, of course, but it's so surrounded with so much traffic and
Yeah.
skylines and shit. Or is that skyline? That's the right word term, right?
Yeah.
Congestion. It's
Cityscape.
congestion.
Right. It feels way different, even though Lake Michigan it is just as vast. Like meaning like it is water till the end of the horizon.
Yeah.
Like just the same, but it's a completely different feeling. Completely.
Yeah. Are you starting to get in the mood?
It's like we're going in. You've seen The Ring?
I've seen The Ring.
Okay, remember they go on a ferry just like this. It's when the horse dies,
Oh, that's right.
and they're heading towards an island very similar to this. It's very cool.
Oh, I love
Kind of feels like, we're going into Shutter Island or something. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I only speak in movies, so.
No,
this
that's a good reference.
We're going into it because that was also overcast, gloomy.
Oh, Jesus.
That's cool.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's a lot of waves going on there. And I got to mention as a side note too, I don't like being on this boat right now with the cars.
So you're not good with
it doesn't
planes
feel very
and
natural.
boats.
Yeah. Well, I mean, all it takes is a little hard turn to the left, and we're going over.
There's a boat this size cannot make a hard turn the way you're imagining.
You don't think so?
Hey, what island is that one? Is that one of the private ones over there? On the,
Yeah. So there are a lot of private islands out here as
The
well.
little one probably so too, right?
And one of the private islands, I think it's called Rattlesnake Island. Yes, Rattlesnake Island.
Yeah.
It is completely private. Like if you pull up in a vessel,
Yeah.
supposedly armed guards come out and chase you away, and it's this big secret what
UFO.
goes on.
I wanna
Rattlesnake
work
Island.
there.
Yeah, you can look up stories
I'll
of
be
people
a
who used to
janitor.
work
I just
there,
want to work there.
and they tell all
Is
sorts of
aliens?
weird stories. I think there are aliens over Lake Erie. There are stories. I didn't necessarily research that, but we can certainly
mean,
do that easily.
If find a UFO, I come here to hide.
Oh, like in the water?
No, like on one of the private islands.
Oh, on one of the islands. There might be, could be USOs. Who knows? I don't know how deep Lake Erie is. I got to research that. I didn't do a lot of research for this trip. I got to be honest.
I don't believe you. I heard you mention 11 pages on one subject earlier.
Well, that was Serpent Bound.
So, but you fucking researched it, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, so don't say you don't. You just didn't research every angle of everything we're doing.
Just couldn't.
Because this is all new territory
Not
for
enough
us.
time.
You know?
Yeah, we're going to kind of play it by ear, see what happens.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll sign off for now. Maybe we'll see Joe and Dave swimming.
Jave. We're going to call him Jave.
Jave.
Until we see him
Maybe
again.
we'll see Jave swimming. All right, over and out.
Thanks. Today's episode of the Supernatural Occurrence Studies podcast is brought to you by LootCrate.com. Loot Crate, totally rad swag from your favorite movie, television, and video game franchises delivered conveniently to your front door. That's Marvel, Far Cry, Rick and Morty, Batman, WWE, Harry Potter, anime, Minecraft, Stranger Things, and a whole lot more, guys. Visit trylootcrate.com/SOS-radio and enter promo code BRIDGE10 to receive 10% off any new subscription. That's trylootcrate.com/SOS-radio and enter promo code BRIDGE10 for 10% off any new subscription to Loot Crate. Your order must be placed, however, before 9 p.m. Pacific Time on or before the 19th of the month to secure your special listener offer. That's trylootcrate.com/SOS-radio and enter promo code, what's that, guys? BRIDGE10.
Supernatural Occurrence Studies podcast has landed on Put-in Bay. We did have a snafu at the port. Joe Erie, Dave Black could not make it onto the ferry along with us. It was hilarious.
Yeah, thanks, Dave.
You know the dynamic of this group. So just having Dave Black, Joe Erie stuck behind as we paddled on to our destination was pretty damn funny. So, but we're here. We're on Put-in Bay. This is our intro episode to the Haunted Ohio podcast series. Listeners, listen to future episodes for releases from this haunted trip. But I figured what better way to conclude this intro episode to our haunted trip than to actually sit down with the author of Haunted Put-in Bay, Bill Kretschy, who has graciously invited us into his home. Bill, we purchased your book. I know a lot of the stories, a lot of the locations we're going to visit are in your book, and we're going to read up on that. But, I mean, to hear it straight from the author's mouth is just something we don't get to do very often. So thank you for agreeing to sit down with us. We'll try to be respectful of your time.
Of course, my pleasure.
And tell us a little bit about yourself, man.
Okay. For my own part, my name is Bill Kretschy. I'm from the Cleveland area originally. I spend my summers here at Put-in Bay, where I work as a park ranger for the monument here on the island. And then in the winter, I live in the Franklin Castle. I'm the resident historian at that fine structure. That's where I spend my winters. Is 6 months at the castle and 6 months at Put-in Bay. So it's fantastic. Life bouncing between the two, and then there a little bit in the summertime. But when I'm here, though, I kind of do a lot of historical research, particularly on the Battle of Lake Erie, which Put-in Bay is known for. It's a turning point for the U.S. during the War of 1812. Very famous naval engagement, and that's what the monument that's here is built to honor, is Oliver Hazard Perry and the men who fought with him at the Battle of Lake Erie. But it's also an international peace memorial, so it honors the peace that the U.S. shares with Canada and Great Britain, of course, which is we've had for over 200 years. Yay, peace!
Not so much anymore. But
it's a little like okay, there's a little bit of bickering going on, but we haven't gone to blows yet.
If I could just pause just for one quick second for listeners who don't know Franklin Castle, I said, whoa, what? That is probably the most, rumored to be the most haunted location in the state of Ohio. I've even
correct,
heard the
yeah.
Midwest. So
Yeah.
you spend 6 months there.
I do. That's correct. Yeah.
We're gonna Skype one day. Hopefully,
Okay, yeah.
get that
Yeah.
story.
Oh, yeah,
Not
absolutely,
digress,
yeah,
but
yeah.
I
More
want
than
listeners
happy
to
to,
understand
yeah.
that. Sorry, Bill. Go
Oh
ahead.
yeah, yeah. Oh, so while I'm not working at the monument, I'm doing research on the island, and it was a couple of years ago. I started talking with a few people who had some very interesting ghost stories to share, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. I started talking to Mr. Boyles, who is the manager of the Park Hotel here on the island where you're going to be visiting, and he started sharing some wonderful stories, and it just sort of went from there. I started finding more and more places on the island that had some ghost stories behind them, and I was just like, this is enough to write a book about. So I pitched it to my publisher, and they said, yeah, absolutely. So they said, gave me the go-ahead. So I spent the summer 2 years ago, during the summer, on my days off and after work, meeting with a number of people, usually over a beer or a few glasses of wine or a case of beer, and just kind of get, with a little handheld recorder and just passing back and forth, and getting the stories. And I got to meet some fantastic people and hear some amazing stories. But on top of all that, you'll find in the book that I don't start off with the ghost stories. I'll start off with the history of each location. Some people have told me that they found the book more helpful when it comes to the history of these places. And they're like, wow, I didn't know that, and it's my own bar. And it's like, yeah, or I didn't know it was built then, or I didn't know that this happened there, or that happened there. And then, of course, I'll conclude with, I'll go into the stories of, the haunting. The Put-in-Bay Brewery is one of them that I did a great interview with the manager and some of the staff at that place. So that was a fantastic one. Some amazing stories on that one. So, but yeah, that's who I am. That's the island. That's what I do up here, though. It's a fantastic island here, the Western Basin of Lake Erie, right here. It's America's vacation land, Ohio's vacation land, I should say.
Yeah, it feels like you're not in the Midwest when you step onto Put-in-Bay.
Yeah, well,
what I explained to him, I've only been to Kelly's Island prior, but I'm the one that recommended this as our annual trip this year because Kelly's Island to me feels like you're in coastal Maine. It's got like this Stephen King sort of small town, rocky coast lighthouse sort of feel to it, with like sort of a misty haze hanging over everything, and it's got this.
True.
It's like a very peaceful but also kind of creepy vibe. That's really cool.
And you could feel the history going into it.
Oh yeah. Kelly's Island is fantastic. There's a lot behind that too. It was originally called Cunningham Island. Named after a guy named William Cunningham that was believed chased off by the Native Americans at the onset of the War of 1812, and it was believed that he died over there on the Marblehead Peninsula. And you can see these from here.
What year was the War of 1812?
That's a trick question. Because,
I know, because it ran for several years.
Because it did. It ran from 1812 to 1815, so it ends with the Battle of New Orleans.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, this William, we come to find out that this William Cunningham, who the island was named after, he did not die at the Marblehead Peninsula. He made it as far as Rockport, Ohio, which is today's Rocky River. And according to his great-grandkids, who in the 1930s said, no, he made it here, he got married, had kids, and then he died. They buried him in the little cemetery on Center Ridge Road, just west of the home for aged Welsh people. There is no cemetery over there. I found it. It's underneath a set of townhouses that were built in the 1990s. This is the first book that I wrote, was Buried Beneath Cleveland, Lost Cemeteries in Cuyahoga County. I found over 50 graveyards in Cuyahoga County in the greater Cleveland area that nobody knew about, including this one cemetery, the Lowell Family Cemetery on Center Ridge Road in Rocky River, where William Cunningham, who Kelly's Island was originally named after, he's buried there.
Oh, wow.
Too. So,
that's super.
It got the name Kelly's Island when Datus and Irad Kelly, the Kelly brothers, bought it in the mid-1800s, and then they switched the name over, but that's why it's not apostrophe S. It's Kelleys. It's because it's plural, because it's named after the two brothers.
Oh, wow.
So, that's how that is.
So, can you give us just a brief history of Put-in-Bay?
Sure, yeah.
And this is also known as South Bass Island.
It's South Bass Island. Put-in-Bay is, this is where it gets confusing. Put-in-Bay is the name of the village on South Bass Island. There's South Bass Island. The whole island is South Bass Island,
Is the whole island also Put-in-Bay? Is the entire...
Put-in-Bay is a township that comprises South Bass, Middle Bass Island, Gibraltar, and some of the... so there's a township, but the village itself is called Put-in-Bay, as is the body of water is called Put-in-Bay. But the island itself is South Bass Island. So if you're going up here, you're going to South Bass Island, and you're at Put-in-Bay on South Bass Island. So... Yeah, so the brief history is, it was settled by the Europeans around 1807. They were chased off by the Native Americans around the onset of the War of 1812. This was where Commodore Oliver Hazard Perry put his squadron during the War of 1812, and this is where he kept them before and after the Battle of Lake Erie, which was what suddenly turned the War of 1812 in the U.S. favor.
Well, so something I'm kind of confused about, because I've seen a couple documentaries with it, and they're all different, and everything's like, well, it's kind of controversial, I'm not sure, because on the British side, they're saying, well, they were afraid that America was almost going to take over the top half of the lake.
We were trying to invade Canada. We were the aggressors against the Canadians, which Canada didn't exist as Canada until 1867, so it was all British North America. They saw us as the aggressors, but we were doing this because Britain was aggressing against us.
On the ships, right?
Yeah, they were seizing our cargo, seizing our sailors, forcing them into the Royal Navy, because Britain was at war with Napoleon, and we were trying to stay neutral. They didn't like that. So
I find it very hard to believe that America was the aggressor.
I know. Who would have thought?
Okay. So
that
we
big
were
stick. You got to carry the. We were. We tried to invade. What's now Canada 3 times, and 3 times we got our butts kicked back into the United States.
And the funny thing is, most of the documentaries are saying that no, we kind of didn't. But
well, we did. We got kicked back, and after we got kicked back over at Amherstburg on the Detroit River, the British came back and they invaded Detroit, and they took Detroit without hardly a shot being fired. And when that happened, we lost our entire Northwest Territory: Michigan, Illinois, Wisconsin, and Minnesota, what would become those states. And the British had gotten the Native Americans to side with them because they promised that to them and to give them their own country. Did the British really intend to keep their word on that? No, probably not. If they did, they would have given them Manitoba, but they didn't. So, so there's that. That's what it really was all about. So in order to get our Northwest Territory back, we had to get rid of the British naval threat here on Lake Erie. And that's why we built this squadron of boats at Erie, Pennsylvania, sailed them to Put-in Bay, and fought the British on Lake Erie and defeated them. Captured every single boat. Yay!
So tell us about the actual. You work at the monument.
So I do work at the monument. Yeah.
And there's some stories there at the monument.
Well, I've heard some stories. There was an incident.
The monument we're referring to
is Perry's Victory and International Peace Memorial. Okay.
Which actually appears on a
quarter, U.S. quarter. That's correct. Yeah.
I am a coin collector. So I actually have the 5-ounce silver version.
Oh wow, that's cool. The view from that was taken inside of the visitor center, facing the statue of Commodore Perry, looking out the back window. You can see the monument over his right shoulder. That view was from inside the visitor center. So some of the stories that had come out were there was a school group one day, and they were waiting in line to go up. We have frequently in the spring and fall we have school groups coming up, and they thought one of their students had gotten past them and had gone up, snuck up the stairs behind the ticket desk and gone up to the catwalk area above. And there was another ranger there, and she was kind of looking around. They all saw somebody walking around. But there's a closed gate at the top of that second landing, so nobody could possibly have gotten by unless they had a key. Thought maybe maintenance, called maintenance. Maintenance had nobody up there, but there was a distinct somebody walking around, and they could see somebody moving around. Then the event stopped, but nobody could figure out what it was, or who it was. There was another incident where one of the rangers was sitting there at the fee collection desk, you saw earlier, in one of those rope stanchions. The ranger in question was reading a book, and the rope had gone flying across the room. Turned around, and saw that, and just kind of picked it up, clipped it back on, and said something to the effect of, "Haha, very funny." It was his first day doing fee collection. So, yeah.
First and last?
No. He's still here. He's still fee collector. So,
and that's pretty obvious.
Yeah,
that's pretty obvious activity.
Yeah, so it's so there have been over at our Rangers Operations Center. There's people have felt creepy feelings in there, and heard things. One ranger recently had the pant leg of his pants pulled on while he was sitting at his desk. That happened earlier this week on Tuesday. I heard about it yesterday. Yeah, so that was kind of funny. So,
and of course, the monument itself it's a tomb.
It is a tomb. Yeah, it's the final resting place of 3 American and 3 British officers that were killed during the Battle of Lake Erie. While the enlisted men were buried at sea following the battle, the officers were buried 2 days later here back at South Bass Island in what's now De Rivera Park, and Perry buried them together, opposing American, British. And a lot of people said, well, why are you doing that? These guys are enemies. And Perry says, no, they were enemies in life. They're equals in death. And so he was at this point already starting to heal the wounds between the two nations. So he buried them together. So 100 years later, an excavation was done, and what could be found of those officers was brought over to the monument, which was being constructed at the time, and they were laid to rest and repatriated beneath the floor of the rotunda. Wow. So it's a place of honor, and it's the world's tallest tombstone at 352 feet. So
wow. I heard also too when this goes before all that stuff, when they were taking over the vessels they would actually take the Americans that were British, and they'd make them work for them because they technically they were American, but they really weren't because they're British blood.
They would say they would use anything. They tried to press you into the service, and they tried to offer you money. This is impressment, and but it wasn't just American sailors. It was also British sailors. It was merchant sailors. They needed help. They needed help fighting Napoleon. They would try to convince you that Napoleon had his eyes set on North America, and that would be the next target. So you would do well to help us now. And if you didn't, he'd say, okay, well, I know the two of you guys, I recognize you guys as deserters. You're getting back on board. And he'll point at you, and you could tell him you're Davy Johnson from Boston until you're blue in the face. And he'll be like, no, you're Tom Stapleton from Kent. Get on board. And there you are. Welcome to the Royal Navy. Wow. It might be years before you see home, if ever. Yeah. So it was a common thing. Yeah, there was the press gang go around, but they did it to their own merchant sailors too. So, and sometimes if your captain needed you, or your captain was the father of your father, he might try to pay your ransom to get you to stay on board. So we've got reports of that too. So,
and on the American side of it, they needed help. They got a lot of African Americans.
That's true.
Of actual crazy pirates.
Well, John Lafitte, of course, down in the battle. The Battle of New Orleans.
That's kind of where everything pretty much started.
Well, there was a conclusion, was the Battle of New Orleans. That was the last battle we fought. It ends down in New Orleans, and that's what solidified our claim on the Louisiana Purchase after it all. So you got John Lafitte, and 15 to 20% of Commodore Perry's crew was African American. That's a fact. Wow. The Navy was one of the few places where blacks would be treated as equals. Perry was from Rhode Island. They didn't have slavery, and Rhode Island wasn't that kind of a place. So there were a number of guys that we knew that were black at the Battle of Lake Erie. I have to confirm this, but I found an article from the 1950s, and it has some very compelling evidence in there, but it says that even Commodore Perry himself may have been 1/8 black. Is mixed race. So I do have to look into that, and it's very convincing evidence, but I need to find further evidence, because I have to find the original documentation of what they're referring to, like his works of William Shakespeare and a letter that he wrote and a letter that was written to him that talks about it. So I need to find those. So, but it's a very good possibility. So back then, they might have been mixed race.
Any of us to take a DNA test.
Oh, sure, yeah. I found out I'm 1/8 Turkish, so there we go.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, I did. I have a great-grandfather who was born in Greece, and I had one of those mouth swab things done and sent back. It says that I'm 1/8 Turkish. Hey. Like, Turks conquered Greece 200 years ago, so it makes sense. Yeah. Just explains the Turks. And so I tell people I'm two-tone, so... Yeah.
So you're very knowledgeable about this. So this is why I got to ask, and this is very controversial too.
Okay.
So, like Sumeri and all that, like a long time ago, they said that there was routes that would come to the Americas for iron and copper. Okay. So then the whole thing with the Knights Templar eventually finding the same passageway through Canada.
Yeah.
And, also, Sinclair was the head of the Knights Templar. His, I believe it was his daughter or his granddaughter, was married to Christopher Columbus, and supposedly that was a setup. Dude,
are you trying to get us assassinated by the Illuminati right now?
Oh my God! Well, no. Okay. Well, it's going to come down to one thing. Okay. So basically, they were moving treasure to the Americas.
Hey guys, close those blinds.
Then
the Templars, right?
Yes. This is a theory.
Yeah.
But it's starting to kind of get more and more to light, and there's evidence. But so Christopher Columbus's, I think it might have been his, the Sinclair's grandchild. I think it was. She was married to Christopher Columbus. They had the boat manifest, and Oak Island.
I've seen that show a few times.
On that manifest, there was 4 people that were the Knights Templar that all of a sudden disappeared when they hit, and they're saying that they dropped them off and then landed here, and they used Christopher Columbus as the, hey, we found this, to make it look like they just found everything.
Okay.
The reason I put two and two together is the lake up there is Sinclair. I didn't know if
Lake St. Clair. I don't know who that's named after. Although I'm sure I could look it up. I mean, we can Google it. It might say who it is.
When I saw that, I'm like, I wonder because not a lot of people know about that, and it's I kind of put a little connection in. One
of the first Europeans to explore the islands was Father Louis Hennepin. Was here in the late 1600s. In fact, he held mass on what's now Middle Bass Island over here, and he dubbed it Ile de Fleurs, which is Island of Flowers. And I think he's the one that discovered, in quotes, he was the Native Americans discovered Niagara Falls. He's supposedly, I guess, like the first European to see Niagara Falls or to write about it or something like that. So, in the 1600s. So, I'm sure there are other people that have seen it, that are also European. I did have my own theory on that whole Oak Island thing, though. It's like, isn't it like a shaft that they went down and they buried gold, and they have the shaft rigged so that if you try to dig down, it floods in, and it's kind of like a loamy. I have a theory on that. I gotta think that maybe what it was it was a bay, and they sailed a boat in, and they sank the boat.
That's what
and then they filled it in, and they just kind of dumped dirt, and they buried it in a shallow bay, and it's still soggy enough that anytime you try to dig down, the hole fills up with water because it's a bay. It's like a swamp. That's my thought, is that they actually sank a boat, and there's something on, and it was like a treasure boat, and it's. And that's why you can't.
Yeah, that's actually what they say. Like, because they couldn't do anything, but they had to hide it because it was so big. So they let it in. They sunk it.
That's my thought. Yeah, because it had to be a boat, not a shaft.
But they found coconut fiber under there. Coconut. It's not.
Why would they want to make their own treasure inaccessible for a while?
No, there was a shipwreck. Something happened where the ship was going down, and they had to abandon ship. But they had everything on there, so the only way around it was.
Or my thought is, if we can't have it, you can't either.
Right.
Does
anything on this island freak you out, scare you?
No, nothing scares me here or at the castle for that matter. No, it's hard for me to say I'm scared of anything. And people ask me about the castle, if I'm ever scared about that place. I say, well, until I get shoved down the stairs, wake up with scratches or with some face going over my head, then I'm fine. No, over here, no, nothing. In fact, this place feels just like in Cleveland. I feel at home here. It's a very welcoming community. No, everything is great. Every place I've ever been, every place I've hung out, everybody I've ever hung out with. No, this is great. This is cool. It's a fantastic place. In some places, I mean, you walk in, sure, okay, yeah, sometimes, okay. I said earlier, I don't feel things like not like you do, but you get like a feeling of cheerfulness or comfort or a little bit anxiety or something. And I've gone places where I feel a little anxious and stuff, and a couple places in Cleveland that just didn't seem right, didn't feel right. But everywhere up here, you know what, I don't get freaked out or anything. It's a great place to come up and visit and hang out. And I've had some experiences here, and I've at Joe's Bar and at work, I just chill. I don't put my name in the book, so I changed my name in a couple of spots. So so it's but I've had my own experiences up here that are pretty cool. That convinced me that it was worth writing about it.
Have you ever had experiences in your place?
In my place,
here where we're at right now?
In here, no, not at all, no, never.
Because what I was getting at, I know you go to a lot of places too.
Yeah.
I was wondering if sometimes it ever followed you.
That's a great question. No, not that I've ever noticed. I've never had anything happen to me here. No doors doing anything funny or lights or voices or anything. No, I mean, we hear voices, but it's people partying out on the lawn. It's like, hey, get out of here, and drunks driving across the lawn in golf carts and stuff like that at 2 a.m. So I think it gets a little annoying. But this place is great. These are newer buildings too. They were built only in the last 20-some years. So before that, this was vineyards. So and a swamp over there. So
and what a view! I mean,
oh man,
I love that.
Awesome.
I got a view of the South Passage over here with Marblehead, Catawba, Kelly's Island, Cedar Point beyond. Then over on this side, I got a view of the bay and Keys Bar. And then, and then I got a 352-foot tall lawn ornament that they light up for me at night. Yeah, that's...
All right, great. Not to detract from your book
Sure.
or to take any magic away from your book, we will put a link. Where do you prefer people buy this book?
Oh, you can go to Amazon and get it.
So
Yeah, it's probably,
some authors don't. They want to avoid Amazon. Go to their personal website, something like that.
Yeah, well, I got my
Probably
website,
does.
and my website just links you to Amazon, so it's
Okay,
it's
perfect. So
just
we will
easy.
have links. We'll have links to purchase your book
Yeah.
on our website in the show notes for this episode, which is going to go across Spotify and
Thank you.
iHeart, all that great stuff.
Oh, terrific.
Not to detract from the book, but out of that laundry list of locations you have listed in the book, and it's extensive, your favorite place that you've investigated and why? And
Well-
maybe we could end with that.
Okay, I've never personally investigated any of the places, but they're all places I've hung out or places I researched while I was writing the book.
Yeah.
But I did go on an investigation one time last September with a girl named CJ that I met up here while her and her friend were up here doing an investigation, and it was at the Park Hotel. And she did invite me to come and sit in with her, and she got some very interesting EVPs and whatnot. And she does have her own. She does on the side her own investigative group. So it's mainly just her doing solo work now. So
Cool.
It's very cool though. But yeah, I did. But it is the Park Hotel.
So the Park Hotel,
Yeah.
listeners, that's where we're
Yeah,
going to
that's,
be staying.
Yeah, awesome.
So listen for those that episode. We did, Bill, bring a gift for you. Joe Erie wanted to gift you something.
Oh, thank
just
you.
to say thank you for our time.
Chicago,
Chicago.
Oh my gosh, anti-hero! I love this. Thank you very much.
Oh, you like it?
Oh yeah, I love
My hair
IPA.
out here, I
Yeah,
do.
we do, and I love it. It's it's great stuff. Thank you very much, guys. I
problem.
appreciate
Thank
that.
you.
Thank you.
Guys, any final quick questions before we bring this episode to a close?
No, man, thank you. We're so grateful. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Well, I hope to meet you guys again. I mean, it really, I do. Maybe we can talk on the castle at some time and
Would love it.
share that
Do
with
you-
you
do
and
you do
talk about.
Skype and things like that?
Not yet, not on my computer. I need to get a new camera for my thing. But,
Hopefully this could be to be continued.
But
Yeah,
in my big boy
definitely,
job,
yeah.
Cleveland is in my territory. I am in Cleveland a lot. As a matter of fact, in 2 weeks I'll be back in Cleveland.
Oh, that's cool. That's terrific. I'll be I got a wedding, but then I'll be back there in end of October when we close down for the season. So definitely hit me up.
Awesome.
That would be
Yeah.
cool to check
And
out.
wasn't that the first place your mom got photos from, or a place
It
that
was
she did?
Squires Castle and Crybaby
Beautiful,
Bridge.
beautiful place, Squires Castle, and which Crybaby Bridge? There are about
Right.
there's one
I
in every
know.
county.
I know.
And-
I don't know.
And I'm unfortunately
Ma, you're
I'm going to be
gonna slap
debunking
me.
a lot of
Oh,
them. So
Ma.
it might be the one out near Kirtland. That's a very well known one. There's also one out in Lorain County, and there's one down near Akron, Canton area. That's Rogues Hollow has a Crybaby Bridge.
Kirtland sounds
Kirtland,
familiar.
okay, yeah,
I think
that's
where she was.
what they call Melonhead Country.
Yes, yes,
okay,
yes,
all right,
that's it,
yeah, I'm not
Kirtland,
even
yeah.
touching the Melonhead story
Right,
with a 10-foot
oh,
pole.
man, I can tell
It is the
you.
biggest. It is the biggest load. I'm not going near that
You
one.
got the
Got it.
Bigfoot triangle I saw.
Yeah, there is that. I'm not a cryptozoologist, so I won't be going near that one. I'll leave that to them. And
We cover it all.
I don't like to step on. I'm a historian, so I like to look into the real stories behind these places and find out what really happened there. Like the Crybaby Bridges. Sure, there's some things that some did happen, but then I found real bridges in northern Ohio where mothers really did kill their daughters and sons. And I'll be writing about that in the next book, so
We're
I'll
looking
tell you
forward
about
to
that
it, man.
too.
Awesome.
So, yeah. Hey, guys, thanks again.
Bill, thank you so
It's
much.
been a pleasure.
Listeners, we'll conclude this intro episode, and once again, watch for our Haunted Ohio episode releases coming up in 2 weeks.
So, you know, when we're talking about fucking with the sound, we're talking about you actually sounding.
Can we please record?
What?
Come on,
Like
man.
sounding his pee
I want
hole.
to get out and do some stuff.
Oh,
tonight,
okay,
so
okay,
come on.
sorry.
No, you're not. You know exactly what you're doing, you little shit.
Fucking hurts. Dude, it hurts so bad. He got the funny bone's not funny. It hurts.
Dude, they're literally gonna come and sound us all. This is your punishment.
She comes in here with a fucking drill with like a 3/8
And a fish hook at the end.
Does that mean we have to be hard for it to happen? She gonna force us Viagra first?
Dude, that hurt. You probably heard that.
That was good. Some good aim.
Okay, 5.
Oscar, use your editing magic.
Can we cut it?
Do it.
Take us home.
No, not yet. Don't take us home yet.
I know. I'm not listening to him.
Take us to Ohio?
There you go.
Shut up.
Hey.
Wow.